Hey, brother.
What's up, Charles?
Nothing much.
Oh, see, and let's see. Okay. It's Aloha Friday, everybody. Uh, oh, okay. All right. Let me set up my nice little monitor there so I can monitor some comments.
Aloha
Oh,
nu.
there we go.
Hello,
My
everybody.
Auntie Mary, my Auntie Mary's on. My Auntie Mary's a retired nurse, huh?
Oh,
Yeah, man. She's like she used to work at the Mahilona up at the she's been all over. She's an amazing lady and she's on she actually worked at KCCC as their nurse and
what's her name? Mary what?
Madaris.
Oh,
Yeah, my auntie, man. She was in the army. She's an army nurse. She's on every night, man, and I tell you what, she's like many of us, she's afraid of what's happening. And this is the thing, Charlie. The healthcare professionals, which obviously my auntie is one of them, and there's so many that are on this show and many that we know, are all concerned. They are all worried. They're all worried because of what is happening around the world,
hmm.
in our country, and in our state. Oh yeah. Let's share. What the heck? Where's my share button here? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yep. This high tech boy. I tell you, I love this thing. You know,
Yep.
it's really cool. Like if you look really good on this notepad, you see, get my name on them. That's how. Oops.
Well,
That's how you know you're somebody when you get your name on your notepad.
here's my
Uh,
notepad. Look at my name on my notepad.
Here we go again. Here we go again. M&M's. Uh, there you go. There you go, Charles. You can get your name and your buddy's partner
Yeah,
name on one coffee cup.
yeah,
Yes, sir, bro. You know we've arrived, buddy. We've arrived.
yeah.
But anyway, as I was saying, so all of the healthcare experts, all of the healthcare professionals, all of the
Mhm.
medical experts around the world is concerned, rightfully so. Kauai, we got another one today. As we had the two yesterday. Of course, in the states report, because they're 2 days behind, it showed zero for Kauai. The accurate reporting we talked about last night. And then, so that's two yesterday. We had one more today. Today was a returning visitor, a returning resident, tested negative on the pre-travel test, but because of his concern, his consideration for everyone else, he took the voluntary second test on Kauai, and it came out positive. Again, I
Mhm.
think that person that took it upon himself to get tested again. Again, it was a returning resident because of his concern. Nobody like get your family sick, and so that makes quite a few on Kauai. And yet the governor continues to mention that he's not going to support our mayor's request for a mandatory second test. And then this morning on KHON, the lieutenant governor was on there and he was specifically asked by the reporter about the Kauai cases. And if I know you, I don't know if you saw it, Charlie, but I did, and many people did. I saw some of the comments as a result of that.
Mhm.
Um, the He said we our numbers show how successful this pre-travel safe travels program is. It's amazing success, he says. He said it was amazing success.
Mhm.
Um,
Because why? Why?
I'm gonna pull up the transcript because and this is not to dime nobody out. This is just because I don't know how many people watch the news in the morning. So the question was, Kauai has now seen 9 cases, now it's 10, where travelers took a pre-travel test. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is took not it was 9 travelers took a pre-travel test, didn't receive their positive until after they boarded their flights and arrived. How can we prevent this from happening? And his response was, well, first, let me just state that that's a massive success. People look at it through some negative lens. I think he's talking about you and me. We set up a net and it caught them. It caught those cases. Those people ended up going into isolation, which worked. That's why there's not massive spread on Kauai or other places. Now, how can we do that? I did propose to the governor and the team that we ask everyone to have their tests completed in hand before they travel. Hmm, really? Did you? It produces logistical challenges galore, especially as there's going to be a lot more testing that's necessary on the mainland when they have their surge. But that's also why we're adding more trusted partners. So I think we may ultimately get there, but to complain about 9 cases, hmm, I think he's talking to you, Charlie. But to complain about 9 cases hurts the feelings of the rest of the world because other people are seeing thousands of people in their hospitals, and we are seeing the lowest rate, the absolute lowest rate in the country of for COVID because of our safe travels program. The idea that you can make anything perfect is not realistic, but I will try to make it better all the time. Question: yes, because Kauai Mayor Derek Kawakami is asking to have the negative test before boarding as well as a second post-arrival test. Let me ask you this. Why does it seem like Kauai County, they've been releasing a lot of the post-arrival info to the public? Why does it seem like they're the only ones doing it, or am I mistaken? That was from the reporter. You mean as opposed to me? I've tested 17,146 post-arrival tests. He says he did, and we've had 24 positives. They have a much smaller community. It's more possible to do it. They get somewhere around 700 arrivals a day. No, we don't. We have 1,200 to 1,400 arrivals a day, as opposed to 4,500 or so on Oahu. They're doing a good job, but the idea that you could have no cases is not compatible with any other activity. Anyway, he basically said, we can choose to have 0 cases, but we're not going to have zero economy. But the part that bugs me, Charlie, is where he talks about the negative lens and complaining about 9 cases. Like we're wrong. We're wrong to complain, or not so much complain, but to be concerned about the cases, not because it's 9 cases. If we had a cluster of 9 people in a family, in a household, that's one thing. No, the 9 that he's talking about are people that came to our island positive. And there's more. There's more. That is just the ones that got their negative, I mean, their positive results after they arrived. But we know we have a few that came over, like the gentleman today, that had a negative test, cleared for travel, no quarantine. This guy was considerate enough to go get a second test. So anyway, uh, just wanted to get your thoughts, man.
Well, to our viewers out there, if any of you are with me, and I know some are and some aren't, but if you're with me, come with me on this special journey to 2022. Then he can get our thoughts then in 2022. Just remember that. Put that on your calendar, ladies and gentlemen. 2022. Then we'll relive all of these negative comments that he's making towards me. And like I said, if you're with me, we'll make our voices heard. Because what he's talking about, he's trying to use an extrapolation of numbers that he's talking about the entire state. No, you figure those numbers just for Kauai alone. And if Kauai wasn't so vigilant, we would have never caught these cases. We would have never caught these cases. So let us all just remember 2022, because you're going to see a different tone coming from this gentleman, because he's going to need your votes. Just remember that. Okay. So, fool me the first time, shame on you. Fool me the second time, shame on me. And that ain't going to happen. That's all I got to say. That's my thought for the evening there, Mel.
The bottom line is this: pre-October 15th, we didn't have cases. We didn't have cases. Um, we were promised 1 in 1,000 would possibly sneak through, and we're seeing probably 1 in 250, 300, maybe 400. We're on Kauai. It's, and you cannot tell me that what's happening on Kauai is not happening on the other islands. That's if you believe that something's wrong, you drank the Kool-Aid, and you need to get this delicious coffee in the Doodle Boy cup. Remember this Doodle Boy cup? Mm. Because coffee makes it all better. But anyway, tonight we are going to be bringing on. In fact, I'm going to be bringing him on right now. We're going to have a little discussion, continuing on from yesterday. We had a lot of good comments from yesterday with the two young ladies with an amazing perspective that we had no idea what they were going to say, and it was refreshing to see the young generation showing the concern, the consideration, the compassion for others, for their families and friends and other people on the island, which is rare, I think, for young people today. We just they got it, I guess, is the bottom line. They got it, and so Charlie talked to me and he said, "Hey, let's continue on that, and we're bringing on Dallas Correa tonight. In fact, let me put on my hat here.
Yeah.
Oh
They him
yeah,
stay. They him
oh,
stay.
you see the hat? See the hat? I had to bring the
I love the
proper.
hat, Uncle Mel.
I love it too, man. Thank you to Pops. I don't know if you gave it to Pops to give it to me, or you gave it to Pops for him and he didn't like it, so he gave it to me. I don't know. However, I got it. I appreciate. Huh? I won this. I won this. I'm sorry. I won this at the HPU fundraiser the last time you guys had that on Kauai.
Okay.
That's why I get my wife right here to correct me when I'm wrong,
Nice.
which is common. Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah. HPU stands for Hawaii Pacific University, where Coach Dallas Correa is the head baseball coach over there.
Mhm.
But Dallas, I saw this press release and an article about now you actually teaching somewhere.
Yeah, so this is actually going into my third year teaching in the DOE system. So I started at Neo Valley, or this will be my fourth year, actually. So I started at Neo Valley for 3 years teaching 7th grade science. And now I'm over at Kalani teaching human anatomy and physiology. So excited to be there and excited to be at the high school level now.
Teaching what?
Human anatomy
Anatomy.
and physiology.
What makes
Charlie,
the
you
body?
remember taking that in school, in high
No.
school?
Yep. Yep. I remember.
Really?
Yep. Come in, medic. That's a standard. That's a requirement. Yep.
Wow, it's impressive. Kauai High School. I don't. Maybe that upper level of class maybe had that option, but no, that wasn't on my selection list. I don't not recall. And even if I saw them, I wouldn't take them anyway unless it was required. 'Cause that sounds
Well,
too deep. for me.
the thing, the truth of the matter is, no, I wasn't required when I went to school because, brother, if was, I can guarantee you, I'll be only one GED right now.
Well, before we go on, Dallas, I want to thank you and all the teachers out there that are going through some amazingly difficult times, changing times. I just saw tonight on the news, New York City shutting down their schools because of the virus. I know Hawaii is they're still trying to figure out what to do. We're in that place with COVID that like overreact and like underreact because half of the community wants their kids in school and the other half is saying, man, maybe we got to shut them down. So I feel for all of those decision makers up there, but for the teachers that's got to somehow manage these decisions that are being made by other people, I just want to say thank you guys, man. Thank you guys for what you do. This is an amazing profession, a difficult profession.
Mhm.
And you guys shape our kids. You guys shape the next generation. So just wanted to say thank you. And I think I speak for all our viewers.
Hey, Dallas, I wanted to cut right through the chase because this question has been on my mind for some time now. And it's not so much about sports, but now that you're teaching in the DOE system, we've brought up this I guess this topic numerous times about having someone going to the schools and actually checking out each class, understanding the dynamics because there is a possibility that you could have a spread in the classroom. Has the DOE provided any type of service like that for you folks, or are you just winging it and say, well, it kind of looks neat to have a shield here on the desk, and it's kind of neat to have a shield there on that desk? How are you folks doing it right now? How are you folks doing it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of the things that I've been lucky with is to have a very supportive administration at Kalani who does take this very seriously. They've put the health and safety at the forefront of all of our staff members first. So that comes first with making sure that, for me, for instance, I've been allowed to teach from home, which is something that I've wanted to do just to keep myself and also my family safe during this entire process. So that is something that our principal has allowed our teachers to do. For those that have stayed, they have came in. So administration has come in to check to make sure that our desks are spaced out 6 feet apart, to make sure that there is no more than 15 students in a class at a time, because that is the total amount that you can have at 6 feet spacing, to make sure that our meetings are done virtually. So I can only speak for Kalani. I can't speak for anybody else, but I do know that our administration has done an awesome job with keeping us up to date and making sure that teachers are following protocols.
So have they also kept all of the teachers up to date as far as anything that comes out from the CDC or the WHO, that anything that becomes news breaking that 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 your profession needs to know, they've made sure that they keep you folks abreast of all that updated information?
I think that the union sort of does a good job at that, at making sure that they're sending out constant emails, just updating us. Our administration and principal does an incredible job, along with our vice principals, of sending out constant info in the form of emails and reaching out to us through, we use Google Classroom meetings or Zoom meetings in that form. So yeah, again, I can't speak for anybody else. I don't know what's going on at other schools because each complex is doing something different. But at Kalani, they've been doing a great job.
Okay, thank you.
Where is Kalani High School? What town or city?
Yeah, so Kalani High School is right before Aina area, sort of at the end of Wailea Avenue, if you're going towards maybe the Hawaii Kai area. So
Okay.
it's kind of right in between Hawaii Kai and Wailea Avenue.
There's a ridge, Waileiki Ridge is right on top of you folks, right? It goes up the mountain right there. And across is the
there you go.
Wailea Country Club.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice area over there. We had two Waimea High School juniors on our show last night that are distance learning as well, and they was explaining some of the challenges with really communication. That some of the kids, they do their homework at night and they're not able to, but there's no real communication with the teachers at night, and some of them email the teachers, and it may take a day or two to get a response. And you guys experience any of those challenges? I would assume in that area, probably Wi-Fi is not a problem in that area, but how does the distance learning seem to be working at Kalani High School?
Yeah, no, with distance learning, you're going to assume that there are going to be troubles as far as communication wise. Everybody is new to this. So students are new to this, teachers are new to this. Because of that, you have to expect that students are going to be emailing you nightly, or you're going to have to expect that you're going to get more forms of communication electronically. So what our school has done is we have an advisory period that was made for this specifically, which allows students to pop into a teacher's class at a certain time in order to ask them questions. There's also opportunities for them to email or stay late after class and join a Google Meets session, which is something that we've been doing. So yeah, that it's a struggle at times to reach everybody, but we can do the best that we can with what we're given, and I'm happy for my students that have communicated with me, and we look forward to continuing that. Especially we're going to be going back on Monday with our seniors, so we're looking forward to that, and it's only going to be the senior class, so it'll be a chance for us to kind of test the waters a little bit and make sure that our protocols are up to date.
You know, go ahead, Mel.
No, no, I was just about ready to yawn and I caught myself and I was able to stop the yawn before it gone.
You know what's really fascinating, given the I guess the geographical surroundings of each island. Most of the kids that we've talked to now, especially the girls last night, um, is the problem with socializing because there's no kids around, and yet they want to go to class. But I can see, in speaking with some of the kids from Oahu, because there's so much things to do on Oahu that it could be a distraction. So do you find it where that some kids miss the socializing, and that some kids are saying, hey, I like this setup, staying at home and going to class instead of going to the campus itself. What has been your experience?
Yeah, as much as I've had on one end of the spectrum, I've had the same amount on the other end of the spectrum. So as much of the kids that have turned in reflections saying that they wish they were in class so they could communicate or do group work, I've had the same amount of kids mention to me that they're so happy that there are less distractions, that they can focus in at the time being. So it's on both ends of the stick when it comes to that. And it's pretty interesting to see. I know I would want to be with my classmates, especially if I was a senior. But with the circumstances we have, that we got to work with what we can deal with.
Well, I can only say that if truancy was a problem, my advice to you, check Makapu, Sandy Beach, or Kahala Mall. That's where they're probably going to be.
Most definitely, that's the spots.
So what is your preference? I mean, you've obviously taught in a classroom, you've now taught distance learning. What is your preference? What do you think is best for the kids? I mean, and I'm not talking about, we obviously know that we're missing out on the socialization part of it, which is very important. But as far as the learning part, have you noticed any change in the learning, the ability to learn distance learning versus classroom learning?
It's kind of interesting to be talking with the counselors through this process as well. And one thing that we found out is that there hasn't been much of a difference from those that have been successful while we were in class to those that are successful with online learning. And that's been one of the interesting portions. For me personally, I enjoy doing the online learning, and I enjoy being able to do everything through a computer with them. And the reason why I say that is because I can do constant updates with the students or help them with their work immediately, as opposed to going desk to desk to desk. So I can hit multiple students at once. We can work in different groups at the same time through Google Drive, which has been an awesome source. So for me personally, it works out better online. I do miss the communication portion, but that's kind of my preference at this time.
Oh, perfect. I wanted to ask you, when I teach the online classes for the first aid CPR, it's very interactive. You got to get the reaction from the students to determine whether they're applying the techniques you're trying to teach them right or wrong, and get some kind of feedback from them. Do you find in the classroom you miss that, getting that immediate feedback, or you found a way to somewhat work through that so you can get a feedback from a student, especially if a student is not quite understanding, because they may or may not press the button to raise their hand to get your attention, and sometimes students will just sit there and not say anything. Class gets over, and I would think you really wouldn't know if they grasp what you're trying to teach them or not. Did you develop a way to try to overcome that?
Yeah, we've definitely had a lot of meetings going into our training at the beginning of the year. Kalani actually did something where they taught us different strategies for engagement. And one of the ways for engagement is to get everybody to play different games, or to turn on your camera if you agree with this statement, turn off your camera, to type within the chat and to get used to the protocols. But also sending out Google Form check-ins have been another way that we've been able to kind of constantly check in with students. So yeah, we've have to get creative in this time. And as teachers, it's our job to make sure that we get engaged with our students. So as much as possible, we got to find a way. And Kalani did a great job of helping us through those kind of kinks and making sure that we're engaging with students.
Right on. Right on.
Okay, so while you're teaching at Kalani, you're still the Hawaii Pacific University head coach of baseball. How's that working out? Is I know the are you folks even participating, practicing? Is anything going on with college baseball right now?
Yeah, our athletic department and our athletic director and president did a great job in implementing our testing program. So for us in athletics, we test every week. For baseball specifically, just in order for us to practice, we have to test every other week. So it allows us to only practice outdoors and only practice while we're on university property. So for us, that's all the way out in the Kaneohe campus. So we have gotten 3 weeks in that have been approved so far. We're going into our last week now, but the testing protocols have definitely been upped, and they'll be upped even more when we come to our spring championship season.
Any other special restrictions or requirements of the players as far as bubbles and obviously being careful? These are still young kids. We hear a lot about the horror stories from colleges, universities on the mainland. Not so much the athletic part, but the students will be students, right? It's just that's part of life. So, like, does HPU put on an additional layer of requirements for their athletes as far as what they can and cannot do?
Yeah, I can't speak for other programs, but I can speak for us and what our student athletes do understand. And one thing that they do understand is that if you want a season, you better make sure that you're following the protocols right now. Because every time that you go out, every time that you make contact with somebody else, or you go to an event or a party, you're putting our entire team at risk. Because all it takes is one person to get the disease. So for us, we always, and I mention this every practice, we follow what Kauai has done so well. And what Kauai has done so well is they have understood that you have to assume every single person has the virus. So all of our student athletes on our baseball program assume that every other person has that virus, and you're going to take yourself to the utmost precaution. So for us, if we've had to get rid of guys that have not believed in that don't follow the protocols, and the guys that are so far within our program currently and are going to continue going, they know what's at stake. If they want to play, if they want to be a student athlete, then you better make sure you're holding yourself accountable for the rest of our team.
Right on. Hey,
And
Dallas.
then one more real follow up. Will we see a bunch of Kalani High School baseball players playing for HPU next year? I mean, I don't think you don't have any influence with the baseball at Kalani. You're not involved with the coaching or anything. You're just teaching at Kalani.
Yeah, just teaching. I definitely know the coach. He's done an incredible job so far. I actually played against him when he was at University of San Francisco. So we have that connection, and hopefully we have a few Kalani Falcons in the future, as we continue going. So we're always looking for local athletes. That's our priority. We're going to recruit local. And, if they come from Kalani and they fit our program, then that's where they come from.
There's a question that popped up getting back to the school. Do you find that sometimes when, the students sign on and then during the class, they somehow disappear? Have you had any of your students fade off from the online classroom?
Yeah, we cannot mandate for them to turn on their camera, or we can't mandate for that. It's not mandatory for them to be in class, and that's something we can't control. So if they do log off, we ask that they do pop in. I, for one, send emails to follow up if for some reason they're gone for a little bit longer than normal. But that's the case. A lot of times we're dealing with multiple devices in houses. We're dealing with multiple devices on the same Wi-Fi connection. So things do happen. And when that happens, we have to be understanding for it with the circumstances now. But yeah, there's no doubt people magically disappear, and we definitely have to deal with that. So something I think all teachers are dealing with.
But I believe that if they're very serious about their future in education, that they'll probably want to stay on. So that's good. Well, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed thus far. Everything you've said, yeah, it seemed, y- I kind of wish it was what you folks are going through right now. I kind of wish it was standardized, because it seems like Kalani has taken it for a public school, has taken it to a very, very high level, making sure that precautions are in place, but that the learning bubble is there. It gives the kids all the opportunity, especially that the teachers and the school itself, taking into account that you might have connectivity problems, like you just said, multiple devices. You're doing constant follow-ups to make sure. Now, one thing that we had up here, and Mel and I discussed this before, is because parents had to go back to work, especially for the younger kids. I don't know how that affects you, or what your thought process is, thinking of it is. But a lot of these younger kids that's being watched by grandma and grandpa. Well, grandma and grandpa, if they're in their 80s, and they've never had plantation lifestyle, and it, being from Kauai, they don't have all of the technical skills on a computer. How do they adjust, and how does the teaching adjust to bring that into consideration?
Yeah, and there's no doubt that our counselors have been working so hard to reach out to those students that are at risk. So we do have a list as far as that Kalani provides us. Our counselors have a list of those that are struggling, that are at risk for that, and they are constantly in contact. So I think our counselors are just as important, if not more important, than our teaching staff, our the staff here, and also the administration, because they're the ones that are making contact with the families. They know them personally a little bit more on a higher, a deeper level than a teachers would. So yeah, those are all real things, and I'm just glad to be supported by a lot of different people on both aspects, the HPU aspect and the Kalani side.
Okay, perfect.
Last night we had Cheyenne Freitas and Rain Palama. Again, they were the juniors at Waimea High School. And one of the things we had some discussion about was the role that athletics in high school play for our kids. A lot of our kids, they really, the athletes, they that's what they do. They're athletes. They play sports. Some of them, they play multiple sports, and that is their incentive for one of the quotes that she put on. One of her classmates said, "That's the reason they go to school every day, is because of sports." And in high school, because the sport the sporting events have been canceled. And has that played a role, or have you noticed that happening with the athletes that have kind of lost interest in school because they are not able to participate in sports?
Yeah, most definitely. I think as much as you say, that's why they go to school. A lot of student athletes, that's their identity. You are an athlete, and this is what we do. We go to practice. We're able to have some sort of structure. So student athletes, they yearn for structure, and that's what that practice atmosphere kind of gives to us. So when we yearn for structure, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for opportunities to be successful in that sense. Um, and yeah, there's no doubt about it. I've seen some of our student athletes struggle with that when we weren't practicing, struggling with finding ways to go uh, to practice, finding ways to go to the field, finding ways to communicate with each other. So yeah, there's no doubt that it has an effect on us. Um, as coaches, it has effects on us in recruiting, all different aspects. COVID has made definitely made an impact, and will leave an imprint on especially this 2020 class.
One thing with your new teaching assignment, have you incorporated COVID into that, knowing that how it affects the body and what you're teaching, the human anatomy? Did you incorporate that into teaching the kids? Because this thing, we have a lot of confusing thoughts because of the messaging that comes out. It's always been troubling to me from the get go. and to many others, because it's just like the message just wasn't right. But I think we're kind of like honing in on what the message is, and it's related to because of the high numbers of deaths, the high numbers of infections, and the United States being the leader basically of COVID cases throughout the world. Have you incorporated some of that teaching into your class?
Yeah, there's no doubt that current events have to be a part of what we're learning. So when we look at current events, that has to be your way of engaging students to what's happening now. You need to be able to give real world examples. Otherwise, there's no connection.
Hmm.
So those real world examples come from what's happening right now. And right now, the talk of the town is COVID. So that has to be at what we're preaching. That has to be us following the science portion of it, not the political side, the science portion of it. And me being a science teacher, me having my degree in biochemistry, uh, I'm going to follow the science. So if that pops up and an article pops up where we can engage students in something that we're teaching right now or content based, then there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt that we should be doing that.
And as a follow up, let me ask you: would you be willing if I paid for you to teach Josh Green a little about the science? Would you consider that?
that's some, that's something I need to stay away from that one. But that's funny.
Oh, come on, man. Hey, what is the general feeling of the students as it relates? Because you're teaching high school. What's the general feeling of the students as it relates to COVID? There's going to always be that argument about health and safety versus the economy, and a lot of people struggling, suffering right now. I'm sure a lot of some of your students, their families have lost jobs. But what's the general feeling of students at your school when it comes down to COVID and the impacts or the effects on our Hawaii people?
They're very well aware of it, and they do have an understanding of what has happened. They do have an understanding of the economic impacts. I can speak from our student athletes at the college level with their parents trying to pay for tuition, trying to make sure that they can make ends meet. A lot of our parents, or actually a few of our parents, have lost jobs due to this. They've lost business due to this. So the impacts are right in front of them, and they're doing everything that they can to make sure that they're getting good grades, that they're doing the right thing, making sure that their experience out here is good, and at the highest level because of that. So it's right in front of them every single day, um, especially at the college level when there is a lot of money being flown around for tuition. I think it hits home a little bit more when they see that their parents are struggling to make ends meet.
Are there any assistance? What does a university do when a large chunk of their enrollment cannot pay tuition? I mean, how does that impact the school? I'm sure schools around the country they are experiencing that right now, where one parent lost the income, maybe two, you cannot cut it. Does HPU have any type of assistance programs or deferments or anything like that to allow the students to continue?
I do know, especially now that our student athletes are registering for their spring 2021 classes, I do know that they do have different payment plans available for them. They are allowing them to go ahead and speak to a financial advisor within the school or through our financial aid department. Athletics has done an incredible job of helping our student athletes with this, giving them information for different types of grants that may be available, different types of federal aid that may be available due to a loss of income. So, I don't know if they're necessarily extending out payments or doing that types of things, but I do know that they are providing them information to help them kind of ease the pain if their family has lost a job.
Dallas, do you know if um, monies from the federal government that has been touted in the millions of dollars that hasn't been spent yet? Do you know if any of it come towards the schools itself to kind
Um,
of?
I do know one portion of it as far as federal aid coming for our athletic department, meaning that it has helped with staff at HPU to go ahead and pay for some of their hours, meaning that we do have to take COVID leave at times in order for those federal monies to kick in. So I'm not sure if there's anything more than that, but I do know that we are required to take COVID leave, which allows the school to use some of those federal funds that have been given to them.
Okay.
What what's on the horizon, man? I mean, and you can speak. You're a unique guy because you can speak from the high school level, DOE, as well as HPU, college level, university level. In your discussions with your staff discussions, or what do you guys talk about as far as projecting what happens in the future, in the near future? I'm assuming everybody has contingency plans, but it really doesn't look, and this is again what we have received from the experts, the science and medical experts, that they expect this thing to get a lot worse before it gets better. Who makes those decisions? Who plans those contingencies? Obviously, at the DOE, what we're hearing is that the DOE pretty much gives the principals the authority to do what they need to for their individual schools. Some people argue that we should have central standard policies across the board, which would make it easier. Um, but what's in the plans? You know, I think the only thing, like New York City, schools are shut down. Everybody go back to distance learning. But has there been any discussion with leadership as far as at the high school level and at the university level?
At the high school level, there hasn't been much. And I think that's due to the fact that every single complex area is so different. The Kauai complex would be much different than the Farrington, Kalani, Kaiser complex, for instance, with us out here. So I'm not too familiar with what they're doing. That's kind of at a higher level than what I'm at as far as a teacher. On the university side of things, it where we projected we would be back in July is not where we are right now. The cases are definitely higher. Places are surging, especially in places that we would go to travel to in the mainland. So it's kind of delayed their abilities to go ahead and create schedules or to create travel protocols within our conference. It's delayed a lot of the planning process, and rightfully so. Nobody wants to go ahead and jump to some sort of conclusion when the whole portion of this is to keep our student athletes safe and healthy. So we're all on the fence. I can tell you that HPU has done an incredible job with the staff and with our president and AD with creating protocols for ourselves so that we can make the most of what we're doing right now. They've been very proactive in what we're trying to do for the future. But at the end of the day, it comes from higher ups, than what we can do as far as coaches or what we can do as far as teachers. So that's a little bit out of my pay range when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And one more thing.
Now,
You guys deal with athletes or students, I should say, from the mainland that have come to Hawaii to HBU, or recruits that are possibly were thinking about coming to HBU, but COVID may have changed their mind. Any impacts that way from COVID?
Yeah, we actually have an international student from Australia that he could not come out. Australia actually shut down all of their travel, so he wasn't able to come out for any of his fall courses. We had to move him to all online, and that was the case for a lot of international students in the entire athletic department. So hopefully we can get him back in the spring once things open up. As far as students coming in from California or from the mainland, they all had to get tested before they arrived. And that was with that student exemption. I believe the last time we were on, we kind of talked about that student exemption for them coming in. It's definitely made a dent on our recruiting with students coming in on official or unofficial visits. They now understand they'll need to test. Their whole family has to test if they do plan to pursue that route. But we haven't gone off campus once. our staff has not been able to go off campus to recruit. And you look at the Division I calendar right now, just today, they got pushed back to April 15th. So no off campus recruiting until April 15th. So it'll definitely have an impact on the 2021 class or the 2020 class that's being recruited. So we only can see what will happen. We do understand if we don't have a season for some reason, which we're hoping that doesn't happen, a lot of students will get that year back. So it does make a dent on some of our recruiting classes. You'll see if you look through a lot of the signing classes that have just happened through that November period that just occurred. You'll see it's much smaller. You'll see some schools, we have only 2 fall signees, which normally would be much higher. Division I programs have only 4. So, it's going to make a dent. It's going to be tough, but those that are disciplined enough to pursue it, they're going to go ahead and do it.
So, with regards to HPU, I guess my question is geared towards example. You folks do online learning now, but as far as say a new student wanting to maybe utilize HPU but through an online program, does HPU offer that online programs?
Yeah, no doubt about it. HPU actually offers blended learning right now. So in classes that it is safe enough to social distance, they are in class. So things such as our science labs or our chemistry labs, they will need to be in class. Of course, socially distanced with mask on, following protocol. But that online learning is something that HPU has definitely developed and has strengthened over the years. Through the 5 years that I've been in HPU, that program has continued to elevate itself through the communication, through the ability for teachers and professors to teach a higher level of learning or set a higher standard. So it's definitely available. And we definitely suggest it to a lot of our guys as far as baseball players. It gives them a chance to come to practice, not have to worry about going to class or sitting down, or especially now, we have student athletes worried about COVID. So they don't want to be in class. They have that option of going to the online learning. So it's definitely available, and our school's done an awesome job with that.
Because I know at one time, I mean, all you would hear is University of Phoenix, right? Everything is online. Get your degree online. And I think in this day and age that I would say that would be the way to go. I mean, if you're really looking at a safety standpoint, but then if you got someone who wants to learn, but he's socially challenged because he got to have social interaction, or he just won't make it. It's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place if you fall right in between that scale, right?
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. Yeah, and that's where it comes to allowing that choice, and I think that's important right now through this time. And I'm glad that HPU allows that kind of hybrid model of learning. So gives people a choice if they do feel comfortable, if they need that type of learning, they need some sort of help or support in that way, they can go in. And I think that's great.
There's some people right now just tuning on. Some don't know what HPU means, but for those of the viewers, HPU is Hawaii Public University, just to let you folks. No. It's Hawaii Pacific University, okay? Got to get that straight, gang. Got to get that straight.
There was a time not long ago that that online learning was looked at as looked down at. It was and especially a lot of the larger institutions would say that online learning or online degrees online degrees weren't as valid as going to a physical location and going to a university or a college. And I remember that vividly, because I got my degree online years ago. And that was at a time, though, even employers were not looking at online degrees as being enough. And it's so funny now, all the major institutions, I'm talking every single one of them, offers unique online opportunities to get degrees. And COVID has made it really a necessity now. you will not survive in the college or university world if you don't offer online programs, because no one is, there's a lot of people that will not step foot in on a campus. So those that had the early online programs like HPU and they developed it and became a lot better, are ahead of the curve. But I don't know, you might be too young to remember that, Dallas, but there was a time where that they would say that degrees are no good. Nah, man, do you have, how you got them? Internet. It's an internet degree, But in essence, it is more challenging to go through an online course than it is to go through a classroom program, and I can attest to that. It's difficult. It's very difficult. You got to be disciplined. It comes with a whole different uh, requirement of discipline. You got to be able to follow, especially if you're in Hawaii and your school is on the mainland. The time difference is ridiculous. East Coast 6 hours in your live sessions with the instructors and the professors. It takes a commitment of waking up at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning to make that schedule. So hopefully, and it has, the perception of online learning has changed tremendously. COVID has done a lot to make that happen as well. And I'm sure you see that at the university level.
Hmm. It's all in that discipline. You're right. We stress that all the time. Majority of our guys are taking online courses, and everything is due on the last day of the quarter. So you got to go ahead and make sure that you're scheduling yourself out and not waiting until that last week to turn everything in. So no doubt about it.
That sounds like Charlie Iona, what you just mentioned. Yeah, that sounds.
Waiting until the last week.
I wanted to share. When I was at the medical examiner's office, a good friend, Wilson Sullivan, retired major from Honolulu Police Department. He was in the forensics unit, did a lot of the crime scene stuff, and he and Lee Golf, they were teachers over at Chaminade. They was teaching the forensics class for anybody that wanted to be an investigator. And I remember they asked me to go in. Hey, we want you to teach a class. So I figure, okay. So I go Chaminade thinking that, everybody's grown adults, right? Brother, they worse than kindergarten kids. I mean, you trying to talk, they talking over you. And now I know why I never became one teacher like you, because I was ready for crack up all of them if they never shut up. I mean, I was like, wow. And I just found it real difficult in class. It was almost intimidating. And I remember telling them, I said, hey, since you guys know more than me, I guess my presentation is over. Bye. And they had to fill out the form. And a lot of them wrote, oh, he never say anything. And they would ask me, how come he never say nothing? I said, they were too busy talking. They never listened to me.
How's high school? I mean, teaching at high school is a trip. What grade do you teach?
I have a few juniors and mostly seniors. So it's much different than my 7th graders before. I got a completely different aspect this year, which I do enjoy. So less of that, what you were kind of talking about, Uncle Charlie, with seniors than I would see with the 7th graders, kind of going through that maturity phase. Now you kind of have those that are either very serious or, they just want to go home. So you're kind of on that end of the spectrum now.
Oh, you collect all their cell phones before class, or and put them in the box with the little number on them so they can, or
I won't put myself in that situation at all.
the cell phones have caused such a huge distraction for everybody. I mean, even in the workplace. I mean, it's just, and one year they had a program for politicians to go teach for a day, and I went to Waimea High School, and I taught my class was science. It was junior, seniors, and I had a rough time. And I remember coming home and telling my wife that day, it was a full day, no teacher was there. They gave me the lesson plan, and they turn you loose. But that day was worse than my worst day as a cop. I'm telling you. The lack of respect that they had for authority, and they just assumed I was some substitute, and just I think it'll be different if you start with that class from the beginning of the year and
Yeah.
set up the rules. But man, I went in there and it was just it was a horrible day for me, a horrible day, and I'll never do that again. But and a lot of it had to do with cell phones. These guys were not paying attention to anything, and they're just that's it, man. They just you know like I wasn't there. It was incredible.
The sly
So
ones.
yeah, so I took one girl's phone away because she refused to put them down, and right away she said that she gonna sue. I felt like crushing the phone right on the ground, but I knew that would get me in trouble, and I'd probably have to pay for that phone. But yeah, it was just different. Junior seniors, it was a rough day. It was a rough day. So hats off to all of you guys. Hats off, man. So HPU, I saw somewhere you guys are having a fundraiser coming up, an event. It's kind of hard now with COVID to do any type of events for any type of organizations. But how are you guys doing this next event?
Yeah, so we're lucky enough at HPU to have Hawaii Elite Baseball, a nonprofit organization, be running this golf tournament and donating some of the proceeds to our program. So Hawaii Elite Baseball was built around getting student athletes on Kauai to have an opportunity to be seen, to have an opportunity to go to the next level. It was something that I was lucky enough to help out with while I was in college, and something that I'm really glad that they are now um, turning around and supporting our program here as we continue to do that same thing, continue to give opportunities to our local boys to play at the next level. So our golf tournament that we're having will be at Puakea Golf Course. It'll be next week Saturday, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so the 28th. It's a two-man scramble. We're just about full. I think we got about 120 plus golfers right now. So really good news on that end, and we look forward to it. There's a lot of different challenges that come with trying to fundraise and try to raise funds. Much different than what we would normally do last year, for instance. But there's no doubt about it. We'll be taking COVID very seriously in this event. We have everybody spaced out. We have it a shotgun start, so everybody's at different places when they start. I'll be bringing over our kit that we have that we use for practice with our own protocols, so our temperature kit, hand sanitizing kit, the whole deal, to make sure that this is safe. So again, we're so happy that this nonprofit will be running and running it and helping us to uh, donate to our program and help our student athletes.
Wow.
So Hawaii Elite Baseball, you said that they're doing this just for the Kauai kids. So this fundraiser is specifically for the kids of Kauai.
So Hawaii Elite was a baseball program that was built around helping student athletes on Kauai reach the next level. So this was a program that was built, I believe, back when I was in college. So around 2013 through 2015 would be the dates when this started. So right now there are no teams that are currently there, but they still have the nonprofit organization. And what they are doing is they will be donating some of the proceeds to our program, but they're also going to be donating to some other nonprofit organizations as well. So it'll be a really cool event that will support a lot of different aspects of Kauai, and not only our program, but also a bunch of businesses on Kauai. So some things that we are doing is we are partnering with a ton of the businesses on Kauai to help them maybe hopefully generate some interest in their business or their hotel, for instance. So we are looking for more support if that's available. I know it's not easy to give right now, but anything that is possible for others to maybe donate small prizes or things of that nature. Know that it is going to a great cause. It is coming from a place of helping those on Kauai and coming from a place of helping another local university complete their mission, which is for us, it's to help student athletes be the best version of themselves. So we look forward to that. I'm so excited for it. I'm glad that the people that are putting it together have worked very hard for this. So, I look forward to it.
What's the cost?
So it's $100 per person. So we're going a two-man scramble. So it's 200 per group or per two pair. So right now we do only have a few spots left. It is $100 to sponsor a hole. So we're looking still for a few other hole sponsors if available. But we do have a lot of great engagement with the community on Kauai. I feel so blessed and so lucky that people, even through this pandemic, are still willing to support. We have a lot of businesses, hotels giving gift certificates, night stays, local businesses and restaurants giving gift certificates. I mean, I can't believe it's easy to do right now with them struggling. So I feel really blessed and very humble that they're willing to support a nonprofit putting something together for the island of Kauai.
Charlie, you want the Mel and Charlie show? Well, let's do a hole. Let's sponsor a hole. Charlie, the Mel and Charlie show. Let's sponsor a hole. I was thinking that you and I should actually do a team.
Brother, we're there to play golf, not for hit people with golf balls. That's something different.
Well, maybe they would let us play virtually.
Let me ask you this. So this benefits athlete players from Kauai, you say?
So this benefits the proceeds that are coming will go towards the Hawaii Elite Baseball Program, which is a nonprofit built to help student athletes on Kauai. What they are doing from there is they're going to be donating some of the proceeds to HPU, which allows us to now, feel very thankful for that, but also to help them promote it a little bit more. So, we're really excited for it.
Well, I think that'd be a worthwhile thing. Mel, you want to go? Let's sponsor a hole.
Yeah, we'll do a hole. We'll have Kirk. Kirk can design the sign. The Mel and Charlie show. Yeah, we'll do one. I mean, because it would be hazardous. Two things. It would be hazardous for us to participate in the tournament. For others, I agree with you. Or we could be extremely lucky and win the whole thing, and then they would say it was fixed. It was rigged.
And right now I it's been a while since I golfed, and the set I have is when I was back in the third grade. So I'll be walking like the hunchback on Notre Dame throughout the entire 18 holes, trying to go that low to the ground. But yes, I'll be more than happy to sponsor a hole to benefit any athlete. I hope that who's ever watching out there can see that if this can be done for Kauai, I'm sure all the islands, because I'm sure there's athletes on every island, and I just in this day and age when everything is happening and everything is so negative because of COVID, I just want that rainbow to come out and say, hey, our kids gonna get education and our kids gonna get to play. Because if not, what is the alternative? They go into crime, right? We all know that. And I just like them stay away from that. Just stay away from crime. Get on good education and make something of yourself and just have fun in the sport that you enjoy. Whether it be football, baseball, soccer. I was banned from archery in school because remember that cartoon Hercules? I remember Kapalama. We used to see who can reach punch bowl from Kapalama campus. You know what I mean? And, got caught. Put away the arrows, or they give me the arrows with the rubber tip on the end, so not hurt nobody.
Kekaha Agricultural Association is gonna sponsor a hole. I just saw that on the comments. Thank you, Auntie Stephanie Iona.
What you said?
Yeah.
What was that?
Kekaha Agricultural Association. Yeah, she just said she's sponsoring.
Okay, wait, let me check. Kekaha. Okay. Just to let you know, it just came out of my account. So, okay.
And then Tyson Moises said, Dallas, let them know if they sponsor a hole, us, that we gotta sit at the hole during the tournament. You just lost 2 hole sponsors.
I'll zoom you in. I'll zoom you in from my.
So who's your partner, Dallas? Is Pops your partner?
Oh, it might be. I don't golf. I actually haven't golfed before, so I would probably be never. I've gone to a driving range. I've gone maybe once or twice with Dad, but we'll see. I know he wants me to hit to do sort of like the first pitch, but the first drive.
Don't make
Yeah,
the mistake.
everybody gonna be
Don't make
watching.
the mistake I made.
everybody will be
When you
watching that.
when you approach the hole, gonna get these two white balls on the hole, okay? That's to let you know where you tee from. That is not the ball you're gonna hit. Okay, so don't make the mistake I did. Because not did it only break that, it broke my club. So don't hit that thing. Okay.
Maybe I'll set up a baseball on a tee and hit that instead.
That's what I would do, man. Because you know the worst thing that can possibly happen is you whiff them.
Oh, no doubt.
You just completely miss the ball, and it happens to me at least one time out of every round. And one time I swung so hard, I went under the ball. The ball had go back spin and had end up behind me. And I can't remember who I was golfing with, but they said they had never seen that before.
And
And then I golf. You remember Judge Senda, Trudy Senda?
Yeah.
I used to golf quite a bit, but awful fun. Never took it serious. But Trudy Senda had a rule that if you ended up on her foursome in a tournament, and she would keep panties in her golf bag. Panties. If you drive never go past the Wahine tee, you got to put the panty on your head until the next hole.
Oh,
and
no.
I think I wore 2 holes. I had to wear that damn panty because, that's why I say you get a reputation to uphold, coach. So
I think you're giving my
do the
friends
baseball.
ideas.
Do the baseball with on bat. Do the baseball seriously, man, because it's you might just ruin your entire. You might find out that on the 29th that you fired from HPU as a coach.
Our golf coach wouldn't be too happy. No doubt.
Yeah.
You know why I'm laughing is because when I was telling that story, most people that whiff them, you can already tell they're approaching the ball like they're out to kill. And then they give them that one last key eye, that yes, they yell. And next thing you know, they're doing the Michael Jackson. They're doing that spin like a helicopter. Almost like they're drilling into the ground.
It takes you about 2 weeks to recover from one round of golf just because, I just swing too hard. One time I let the club had fly out of my hand and I go woo, 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 like a helicopter blade. the club had fly so far. I was like, I just not a golfer, but I may go see if I can find me a partner. And because bro, I tell you, it would be fun. It would be fun.
That's okay. You over there goes, oh, Charlie, you saw my club. And you see the maintenance guy coming back. Yeah, the one stuck in my head.
Kiahuna, when they were still, long ago, when they were building the homes along the fairway of the I guess it was the first hole. I think it's anyway, bro. I bust the window. Brand new. Pa! Well, nobody was there. I kept on going. They get insurance. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm good for your tournament or not, but I definitely want to support it. November 28th. People, if you guys are listening, you guys are on November 28th, Puokia Golf Course. That is on Kauai, if you don't know. 2-man scramble. It's a fun tournament. $100 a golfer. Or if you want to sponsor a hole, who do they call? Where do they go? Is there a website or should they just call Uncle Charlie?
Yeah, so I can go ahead and send out. Yeah, they can call Uncle Charlie for sure. I think that's the first bet. The next would be, to reach out to me through email, or also reach out to my dad, Correa, and we can send over all of the information through that. So, we really appreciate the support. I love Kauai. I'm born and raised. That's my home. As much as I can to go back there and give back and feel the support still as a local boy. That's everything, So I look forward to it. I can't wait to be home, for the holidays and for Thanksgiving to be a part of it as well.
Well, I'll share one thing with you. You can tell when somebody has never golfed before. When they hit that ball and it's ready to hit somebody or hit one house, you're supposed to yell, 4, right? People that don't play golf, they don't yell 4, they go, ooh, 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 ooh.
That's me.
That's how they never played golf before.
I cannot even repeat what I said after.
Watch out! Watch out!
You think about it. What if was somebody in that yard, and you hit them? So, yeah, probably not a good idea. Puokia
You
pretty wide
know,
open though.
you know when you hit somebody on yard because the next thing you hear, that's how you
Uh,
know.
so I gotta ask Kirk. I mean, Dallas. Sorry, Dallas. I'm assuming that is your home on Oahu,
Mhm.
and that is your Christmas tree off to your left.
Yep. It- we're all ready.
Is that the Portuguese tradition? The day after Thanksgiving, you put the tree up. Is that how your household works?
I
That
don't
used to
know.
be how.
I might be my girlfriend's tradition, and she's not Portuguese, so I don't know.
Oh,
As long
but
as it's good for her, it's good for me. So if it's
did
up,
it go
it's
up?
up.
Did it go up the day after Thanksgiving though? No, I'm
It
not
went up.
kidding. I didn't
It
have
went up
Thanksgiving yet.
before. Yeah, I think maybe a
Oh,
week or two ago. We're
oh wow.
we're ready. So it's
That's a
up.
beautiful tree. That's a beautiful tree, and a lot of people have made comments about it. Somebody said Dallas is such an awesome, classy, intelligent man. So proud of him. Congratulations to the parents, Michelle and Kirk. Thank you. Love you, Auntie.
Yeah, your cousin said HPU stands for Handsome Pacific University. It's your cousin Tyson. Yeah, he said
Oh,
that. Handsome.
there we go.
Marianne Menendez says, poor kid gonna be named Puka Ea after you swing, Mel. They have absolutely no confidence. You know what? I'm gonna find me a partner, and we're gonna win that damn thing. Okay? You just said piss me off, and it's not going to be Charlie. I tell you.
I'll be your caddy the whole way.
Oh, hey, you and me should be partners, and we just have a hell of a time. We would have the highest score. We would have the highest score.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Dallas,
Guaranteed.
you gotta watch him because he gonna be like, bro, I can borrow one golf ball. Without a golf. Hey, you remember the big pond back there? Still on the bottom of the pond. I can borrow one.
I will say, after the last time I golf, I got all the confidence in you, Mel. Mel Woods. They calling me Mel Woods. See, they already know, you know. The last one I golfed, probably, I don't know how many months, it was before COVID, obviously. We keep thinking it was just a few months ago, but it's been 8 months. So last year, I went golf, and I think I lost like 14 balls. I lost 14 balls. That's and it was at the Hokuala. 14. I took 12. I had to borrow two from my friend. That's not bad, man. I'm just so bad. But if this is, I still get a couple of weeks to get ramped up for it. So, okay, I'm in. I go find my own partner. I'm gonna win that thing. I'm gonna win it. All right. Oh, look now, Mel Woods. I meant hit the woods. Okay.
Well, they call you Mel Woods. This Hawaiian, they call me Keave Woods.
Coach, any closing comments? Man, I really appreciate you coming on tonight. That hour went by quick, but what do you want to say to the people of the man? We got people from all over the state as well as on the mainland. Any closing comments, my friend?
No, I'm so thankful to be on the show and so thankful to be asked by you good folks. Every time I'm on, it's such a great time with you guys. I appreciate all the info you're sending out. Me, my girlfriend, my family, we always tune in, and just to get information from you guys and be able to spread the word for people to keep safe. That's so important. Hawaii is all about family, and as much as we can, we want to keep our family safe and take all the necessary protocols to do that. So I appreciate what you guys do. I appreciate your guys' time and for having me on. I'm very humbled by that.
Thank you, sir. Charles.
Well, I would like to say, first of all, thank you, Dallas, for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. I haven't seen my boy Stone in a while, but I hope he's doing okay. And I'm really looking forward to at least getting to see him play a game. I know his mom was on, Lisa was on a little while ago. But thank you so much for joining us. To our viewers out there, I told you about this journey that I had because of losing my brother. tomorrow will be exactly 1 year, the date that we spent our last, that my brothers and I, including my brother Eddie, we spent our last time together in Las Vegas to celebrate Thanksgiving. And that was the first time Eddie got to meet our oldest brother, and not knowing that that would have been our last time. But I gotta say, I'm getting better. I'm getting better because just by doing this show, we getting the word out, and that means the world to me. That means the world to me, that we can get the information out to every single one of you, so you're prepared. Because right now the government is falling short in preparing us, but we can do better. And so I'm glad I'm getting the message out. Mel is getting the message out. Our guest that comes on gets the message out. And tonight you got to see a little dimension with schooling and how schooling is doing, how our colleges are, and how our kids are keeping active. So I hope you all had a great time tonight with us three here. So thank you to our viewers for always staying connected with Mel and Charlie and our guests. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Mel?
Thank you, Charlie. Wow, 1 year, man.
Yep.
Damn. That's, I cannot help but think that if not for that terrible, unfortunate passing of your brother, this may not have even happened. This whole ride that we've been on, and the people that we've met would probably not have happened. So his death definitely was not in vain, and he's using us now. He's there with us every night.
Yep.
But I know it's not easy. But thank you, Coach. Guys, ladies, Dallas, product of Kauai. Kirk and Michelle, his parents, good people. I'm trying to get Kirk on the show. I want to really get Kirk on the show, but he
You
won't
gotta
come
you,
on.
you gotta get another St. Louis guy for get him on the show. He not gonna come on the show with one come in me a guy over here.
Yeah, we'll get somebody. But this Dallas, just gosh, makes me feel so old because I remember you guys when you guys was all little kids, and now you guys all adults and doing so much for the community and for everybody, for our youth. It's our honor to have you on. Obviously, it's another good call by Charlie Iona, making a connection. But yeah, we appreciate what you do, and we thank you for all that you do. And uh, man, we got your back, man, and we'll try our best to promote the golf tournament and get that thing filled up this week. Whole sponsors, guys. Anybody that can. I know it's a tough time right now, but if you got a business that you want to promote and help out a good cause, $100, and it's tax deductible. So there's always that. So, Coach, thank you very much. Wish you and your family the best. I love your tree. Hope Santa is good to you folks this year. We're trying to get Santa on. We're gonna have Santa. Thought about it today, Charlie, and I forgot to tell you, but yeah, we'll have Santa on one night for the kids, and we'll just be strictly for the kids. We'll have Santa to explain because of COVID why it's gonna be a little different this year, but we're still gonna have Christmas and we're still gonna have Thanksgiving. I don't give a damn what COVID does. We still can celebrate amongst ourselves Thanksgiving and Christmas. It doesn't matter what year we're in. For a lot of us who are kids are not here, it's tough, but we can still do it via Zoom. We can still do it through other ways. So we're not going to let COVID take that away from us. And we definitely will have Santa Claus on, and we'll get some gifts for some of our kids. So with that, Coach, thanks again. You guys stay safe up there on Oahu.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys tomorrow night, 7:00, same place. We love you guys. God bless. No, Dallas. There we go. Okay. Aloha.